everybody, to Guys Got Jokes, and so do we, with your fantastic hosts, Joe and Betsy, coming at you on a Mother's Day. So this is exciting. I know it's your holiday, but I'm excited to be able to spend it with you in the trailer.
No place I'd rather be.
I know, they're with me, right?
Exactly.
That's it. Hey, you wake up to the next to the love of your life every day, right?
Take a win.
I am. Let me stop expounding on it. So we were talking this week, and we thought obviously as the summer comes to an end, well not
Or
summer,
beginning.
begin.
It's
Trying
beginning.
to wish our life away already.
Yeah, it's May. It feels
It's
like
May.
August, but it's May.
It does. April was busy, and then here we come May, and so June and July we'll take a little break. So this will be our like episode to go into the summer. You know how them famous people take 2 months of holiday. We ain't taking no holiday. We just not coming back to y'all till August. And so the coolest thing was we had just kind of always think about like what do we talk about? What do we talk about? And I think obviously when it comes to the gospel, the message does not change at all. It's the same message. So it's like they always say, the message doesn't change, but the method can change. And I think over the last, couple months we've been talking about obviously we talked about welcome to 2026 and work-life balance and unity in the community. And then we talked about maybe you are the one to share the gospel, maybe you're not. And then the last episode we talked about like how do you kind of walk this thing out, and there is like no specific answer for everybody. And so like as we've been talking the last 2 weeks, we're like, how do we close out for the summer? And I don't think we can get any more explainable than to just, and I say this all the time, you got to chase Jesus, literally chasing. But I think people get that confused because they let other things get in the way of that chase. Like they're always worried about, their husband, their wife, their kids, and like all this kind of stuff. Are they going to follow? Or is this person going to judge me or anything like this? And it's almost like, and I was telling Betsy, I quote this verse all the time in Hebrews, in it's chapter 12, verse 2. And I promise y'all, she's smarter than me, so I'm going to let her talk in a minute. But in Hebrews 12:2, and if you ever heard me talk about Hebrews, anytime I talk about Hebrews, my face lights up anyway, because I just love this book. But it says, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured on the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So why would you not want to chase somebody that sat down for you in a joy at the right hand at the throne of God? And I think that's such an important thing, don't you?
Absolutely. I think it is the utmost important thing.
And so the reason I say this is it's a little bit of personal conviction on my part because I'm bad. Y'all, I had to sign out of my Facebook this week. I did. I'll admit. Because sometimes Facebook gives me a critical spirit. I don't know if it does to you listening out there, or maybe you're just perfect and you don't get a critical spirit and you only use it for scripture. But for me, I was getting a critical spirit. And I think I was doing that because I was thinking about like my relationship with my kids. And like as I was scrolling through Facebook and seeing all these things that people are doing with their kids, I got to thinking like, am I doing enough? Like, am I doing enough? Should I sign him up for this? Or should I sign Bailey up for more of this? Or Josie, should she be doing three things instead of one? Or should Lottie be doing something else than just basketball? And I like started to get in my head and I had to ground myself and say, okay, this is an obstacle that's getting in the way of me chasing the Lord. And I said, the only way I know how to get this obstacle out the way is to take it off my phone. So I can put my eyes back on Jesus. And when I put my eyes on Jesus, then all that other stuff falls behind. And I have to trust the Lord with what He has given me. I have to trust the Lord with how my kids are going to turn out. I have to trust the Lord how Betsy and I's marriage will glorify Him. I have to trust the Lord how my job can glorify Him. I have to put complete trust in Him. And so I had to have a reset. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced that or not, but I needed that reset. I was getting in my head and I could feel it. And if you're the parents of kids out there, then parenting ain't for the weak. You're always thinking, am I doing enough? Do my kids like me? Am I going in the right direction? Are they going to talk to me when I'm 60? Like all those things start to creep in your head, and I have to constantly go back and ground myself in the Lord. That I have to trust that He knows what He's doing. And that's hard, right?
No, it's absolutely hard. And we're just speaking to where we're sitting. There's people that are farther along ahead of us that can probably shed light on this and tell us to keep walking more than we're going to be able to give today. And I know there's families or people that listen that may be behind us and not where we're at yet. And so this feel conversation may feel distant. But 2026, where we're at, we have a 13-year-old, 11-year-old, 10-year-old, and 8-year-old. And life is great, and I love these ages that they're at, but it doesn't get easier, it gets different, is the best way I can explain it. And I remember when they were super little, social media being a stumbling block in the sense I remember seeing, because obviously everyone knows it's a highlight reel, and we see the best of people. And I remember seeing things and being like, man, like I wish that I wanted to do things like that with my kids when they were toddlers. Like, I don't know, paint or sit down and color. Like, that wasn't in me. And so you're talking about feeding the monster and feeding this cycle of doing enough. That's where that started way back when they were little for me. And so I've had to learn over the years, just like you're doing. I mean, my friends know I will ghost and like turn it off. I have that brick thing on my phone where I can like truly shut it down. It was quickly apparent to me that that was a place that pulled my eyes off where I was supposed to be and what our family was supposed to be doing. I think for you, this it's not a new thing maybe, but as far as it hitting at the parenting level, it feels like it's something that you're new walking out. Meaning, as they've gotten older and the dynamics of our family change, and we walk this out together, there is a pressure that can be on us to make sure our kids are in the right spaces with the right people, doing the best thing they can. Because, at 13, they may be the next Taylor Swift, and we just don't know it. And so, therefore, we
It's
need to do all the
exhausting.
things.
It's
Yeah.
exhausting. Eh, because like I said, you always think you're not doing enough. And I remember I was praying to the Lord the other day. I was like, Lord, I'm just tired at 6:30. In the afternoon. Like, I don't want to go out there. But you pick yourself up and you go out there anyway because you're like, well, maybe I'm not doing enough. Or, like, Lord, I don't want Jack to get older and be like, my daddy didn't throw the baseball outside with me when he got home from work. You like get in your head. And I think you can even relate that to marriage. If you surround yourself and like you're looking at this stuff and you got to remember, and I'm not telling anybody anything that they don't know. Social media in general is a highlight reel. Nobody puts their worst things out there. So it's like when they're at their best. Like that's what you're gonna see. So you gotta remember that. But even think about marriage, like even comparing yourself. And we can talk about the old days. I'm sure they compared themselves through gossip or newspaper or somebody was doing something. However they did it, whatever. And so you look at it and you're like, well, why is my marriage not as good as that marriage over there? Or why didn't my kids call and tell me Happy Mother's Day? Or why didn't, I wake up this morning, to a dozen roses? I don't know. And it's because we make it so self centered about us, too. Like we make it a me, me, me thing. And again, like that Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2 says, fix your eyes on the Lord, and everything else will follow. And I think Betsy's really good about telling people that constantly. And she even said it this morning in life group. Like, no matter where your husband or wife is at the time, you chase Jesus. And either they're going to get on that boat or they're not. But you got to chase Jesus. Does that make sense?
It does, and I do think that's something that the Lord has made apparent, that like that's the message on my heart. I'm passionate about is individually chasing Jesus, and then it does come together in the whole, whether that's your marriage or parenting. And God has been so good and gracious to our family, and I really do honestly think it took 4 kids to humble us. I think had me and you only had 2 kids, we would be
obnoxious to be
I don't
around.
know if we would be God fearing
The
parents.
Lord knew what He was doing.
He had to totally bring us to the end of ourselves. We are always outnumbered. We are constantly in operating from a deficit.
It must have been why He gave me 50 dogs too.
Yeah, we got 3 dogs. But I think that is what the our family dynamic needed to be, because especially when they were super little. I feel like I said, it's hitting you um now more than it hit me when they were super little, and more of the weight. Not that it fell on me; they were just babies. Um, the dependency on the Lord, like it had to be this way, because had I just had like Bailey, like I would have thought I was a really good mom. Like I knew some stuff. Trust me. 2, 3, 4 came out. I know nothing. Okay, humbled super quick.
It's a quick story here. It was so funny. So our sister-in-law Carol was so funny because when Betsy first had Bailey, she was one of those moms, and you maybe one too. Like she didn't need any help. She wanted spend every second with Bailey. She wanted to make sure everything was good. She didn't want many people holding her, and all that kind of stuff. And I remember my sister-in-law Carol said one time she told my mama, she said, "Wait till she has another one or three. She'll be ready. She'll be calling you. Come over there and save her." And I think that's so true. So just a side story there.
No, I mean, it took that extreme and maybe hard headedness for the Lord to use these 4 kids. I mean, you want to talk about sandpaper and refinement. Like, I am constantly in that place. And having Bailey turn 13 and Josie right behind her, because they're so stacked together, this light bulb of like the timeline is getting shorter rather than longer is so real for us right now. And I think that's where we can kind of get in this cycle of, have we said enough? Are we doing enough? And grow an anxious spirit. And something that I had written in my journal is that we live and we parent from victory, not from defeat. And we have to remember that the Lord is faithful, and that my prayer for the 6 of us is that we will chase Jesus. I told you this yesterday. I'm like, if all of us 6 will chase Jesus, this thing's going to be okay, because it lifts our eyes off each of us individually. It gives us a focus outside ourselves with eternal perspective. And then all this day to day that we have to do together, it's not perfect, but it falls in place. But that starts with me and you. And so we've had to create boundaries. We've had to create areas in our lives where there are some non negotiables in parenting, and they're not fun, but
Mm-mm.
we've had to do in order to maintain this attitude of, yeah, but Jesus first.
I think that's so true. That's just like playing anything on Sunday mornings or just in general with our family. And like we're big on praying for our kids' future in general. So like praying for our marriage, but praying for our children right now. Like not putting them in situations that they shouldn't be in. Like for the sake of trying to glorify us. Does that make sense when I say that?
Oh, yeah.
Like don't put. I mean, we could put Bailey in every play just because we wanted to say our daughter was in that play, or we could put Josie. Josie's like our athletic. She could just about show up anywhere and start playing something. And we're like, no, you got to focus on one thing. Like, we're not going to abuse this in any way. Like, we want you to be in situations you want to be in and be successful in, but know that the Lord always comes first. I hope that made sense. I
It
feel like that was
does.
babbling.
No, it does. And I think Bill Dye hit the nail on the head. It's almost like he's been hearing our conversations in the sermon that he preached this morning. It was kind of like, oh, me and you literally been talking about this all week. This concept of, when I became a mom and as they're getting older, especially in the years where Bailey and Josie and Lottie are entering into junior high, high school, those are hard years for me personally. Growing up is hard, being a girl is hard, the changes that come with that, friendships are hard. I couldn't wait to get the heck out of Vicksburg. And what I'm learning is, it has brought up old wounds that I haven't dealt with or have not dealt with well, that were deep, deep down. And so when things start happening to them, my head wants to retreat and act like a 13-year-old girl.
You want to nuck if you buck, huh?
That's right. Instead of being the older, wiser one. And so the only way for me to help them is I've got to take care of my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord has been so gracious, and that is happening and has happened. But I've learned that those feelings when something has been wronged, or I want approval out of my children, or whatever the case be, deep down there's a root in me that has misplaced faith and identity in it somewhere other than the Lord, and now it's coming out through my kid, and they don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's healing parts of those myself with Christ, in Christ, that I can be the best parent I can be, not because of Betsy, but because of the power of Christ in me who has transformed me. And so that has had to be something that I've had to process out too, is a lot of the fears I have, a lot of the anxiety I carry is I think these kids are me and they act nothing like me. In fact, they are to a degree have a
Mm-hmm.
way level more head on their shoulders than I ever had. But I parent like I would parent myself, and I have to be like, stop.
Yeah.
They're not doing that, or they don't want to do that. Why do you want that for them?
Mm-hmm. Not saying they won't mess up. Our kids are not
Oh
perfect. They
yes,
gonna
they
mess
are.
up.
They're
I mean,
scripts.
I probably had to go get one of them out of jail for it's
Yeah,
all said and
yeah. I
done. You
mean, we
know,
know
it
that.
is what it is. But like that's like my biggest hope in our kids is that they are Christ-like, no matter where they go. Like they are nice in the room. They are open and loving to other people, or they know how to apologize if they are not. You know, so like I hope that more than anything they can ever do on a field, a dance studio, a theater, or anything, is that when they walk, they shine the light of Jesus. And
Yeah, and I'm just something that I've prayed over the last school year. I have it in my notes is that the Lord would grow deep roots of faith below and fruit above. So they're kids. They're going to school. They're doing activities. They're in spaces and places as they should be. But in those spaces, how do they walk that out well? And that's where we come in to kind of help guide that. And yeah, they're not doing it perfect, and they
yeah, they
screw
gonna
up. Oh
mess
my
up.
gosh, I'm worried about a
I
couple
tell
of
Betsy
them.
all the time, I'm just glad I didn't have a cell phone in like fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth
Oh
grade.
Lord.
Me and my best buddy, we was talking about that this week. He was like, "Gosh, that is a blessing. The Lord protected us." And I said,
Mm-mm.
"Yes, He did protect us."
Mm-mm.
Uh, but I just think that's important. So that's kind of all I want to do on these mics today is just kind of talk that out. Like, how do you do that? And I know we talked about that last time. Like, how do you chase Jesus? And that's one step in front of the other. And I think as you model it for your family and you model it for your children, they want more of it. And not saying our family does it perfect because we do not, but we just do open, honest conversations all the time. If they ask something about the Bible, then we try to answer. We go back to His Word. We try to figure that out. No question is off limits in our house. And let me tell you what, Lottie Beard has tried to find questions that are off limits. But if our children ask a question, we answer it. And I think that's important too, like in the scheme of things.
No, and you made me think something that we talked about this morning in life group is I mentioned Titus 2:4, and it talks about the older women training the younger women to love their husbands and their children. And that what so stands out to me in those verses is there is a calling to help somebody learn how to love those that are closest to them, their husband and their children. I think we live with this false perception in this world that we're just automatically supposed to have these relationships with these people. And the Bible is very clear like, no, seek out older, wiser people that are doing it well and let them train you, encourage you, equip you on how to love your husband and your children. And I think that's been a turning point for me is it's really hard to love and like y'all sometimes, and like that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this lie that it's supposed to be sunshine and roses and feelings based and all ooshy gushy all the time. And that's another area that turns my eyes off the Lord. Because when it isn't like that, which is most days, which are just regular, ordinary days, or I'm bratty, they're bratty, we're bratty together, then what do I do with that? And so it's living this out with other people that are chasing Jesus too. That has been, I think, a huge impact on our parenting and our marriage.
And just don't sweat the small stuff.
Pick your battles.
Pick your battles. I'll tell you what, you want our family to battle? Do a family photo. It just ain't worth it. It is not worth it.
That's
We
why
didn't
we
get
don't
one
do
today
them.
on Mother's Day.
No,
I
God,
even, when we
no.
was leaving church today, I told Betsy, I said, we should take a photo. We're like, yeah, we'll take one when we get home. Yeah, we didn't take a photo. But it's just not worth it to me. Like,
But for somebody, that may be very
it may
important
be
to
very,
them.
very important, and I hope it is. If it is, I hope your family is perfect and they all line up exactly how you tell them to, and they all
It's
smile.
just a place to sin for us.
Yeah. So,
I may be
what?
throwing some four-letter words before
Uh,
it's over. It's not even. I'm not there yet. Maybe when we get older, we can do a photo.
we
We're
be
not there.
struggle. What is so funny? We always tell our kids like, don't hit your prime in high school. Like, do not hit your prime in high school, and we just laugh about that all the time. And Josie said, "Well, she always got to come back." She said, "Well, you still haven't hit your prime." I said, "I'm not gonna hit my prime. Till I'm bowing at the feet of the throne of Jesus.
That's
That's when I hit
right.
my prime.
That's
So don't
right.
worry about me." But I think that's so funny. But I think that's all we kind of want to talk about as we wrap this like season up. Is that we hope you take this summer to dive deeper into the Word of God through the Bible, or join something, whether it's a small group or anything like that, or just go talk to somebody, pick people that you can depend on, like we talked about, that are chasing Jesus, or you see what they're doing. And let me tell you, they're going to be honest with you. If they are truly chasing Jesus, they're going to tell you every day in sunshine and roses. And some days they're hollering, and some days they're screaming, and some days are great. But like that's our walk with the Lord. But I wouldn't want to have that conversation with anybody else but the Lord. I wouldn't want to have to go to anybody else to complain but the Lord. And so I think that's important too.
Well, and I think it's known where your joy is found. And I know I've said this in this aspect, but a light bulb moment for me was when the Lord revealed that you are not my source of joy, and neither are my children. And when that
Say that again. Say it again, because
you
everybody needs to hear that.
you are not my joy, and neither are my children.
Just like we say, don't put your faith in man, or you're going to be highly disappointed.
Now, do y'all bring me joy? Can you?
I better.
Yes, but you're not my source. And when that shift mentally happened for me, it made me not hold a grudge over y'all when the laundry gets backed up, when dishes need to be done. Because y'all are human and I'm human too, and we're just living and things happen. But when I try to pull out of you something to fill me or out of the kids to fill me is when my resentment and my irritation and my anxiety and all those things bubble up. And so y'all don't bring me joy. Or you're not the source of my joy, I should say it like that. Jesus is, and I have low expectations for y'all. And that is what has kept me from not being as crazy as I could be. It's just like I try to tell my kids, this is me with Jesus. Okay, could
Mm.
you imagine without? And they're like, oh my God, no, it'd be terrible, Mom. I'm like, I know. This is rough as this is rough now.
But I think that's such a good point, is because if I was your joy, you're going to be highly disappointed. If these kids were your joy, you're going to be highly disappointed.
And y'all were for a minute.
I know, and
And it
it's
was
gonna be
hard.
a struggle every day. So I'm telling every woman out there right now, if you putting way too much pressure on your husband, if that's your source of joy, and you need to find the Lord.
Well, and another thing too,
I
I
hate to be so
had,
direct. I'm
as far
sorry.
as parenting goes, I had to let go of what I thought this looked like. When they got older and they began, like I'd say, picked what got their motor running, or that's what we've watched in our children. What do they do without me and you having to ask them to do it? When they have free time and it is quiet, what are they going out and doing? For Lottie, she's picked up a basketball since she could walk,
I know.
and that's basketball. Bailey, it we've she
We tried it all.
she's
Not
tried it
we.
all.
She tried it
It
all.
feels like
I
a
felt like
we,
it was a we.
but she has tried it all and she landed in theater. Josie's still trying to find her way right now, and Jack is too. But I had to let go of what I thought it looked like. It didn't look like what it looked like for me. It didn't look like cheer for Bailey. It didn't look like um those things for Lottie either. And so that expectation, even on my kids, of what they're interested in, I'm having to let them figure that out, and then me and you come alongside. And that's hard because some of the things they're interested in aren't necessarily cool or popular or what everybody else is doing. And so helping them walk this road out where the Lord has gifted them has been a place. And I think that's what you're talking about with Facebook is it's easy to look to the right and to the left instead of our gaze fixed forward on the Lord of what other families may or may not be doing. And they're not intentionally putting those things out there to even make somebody feel that way. It's just the nature of the beast. We're human. And that's where that rabbit hole train can happen instead of being like, no, like the Lord gifted this child for this and we're going with it.
Mm. And I know I even do it too. Like anytime me and Josie run a 5K, I'll put it out there. You know, like I think we just need to be intentional on how we view other things. So, and just know, again, I'm gonna say it again: chase Jesus, chase Jesus, chase Jesus. And I think that's all I really got to say today.
Yeah.
I just want to get that across. But anyway, I guess we'll see y'all in August. If you have any ideas you want us to talk about, no topic is off limits. We can get vulnerable on these microphones even more than we already are if you need us to. But we hope everybody has a great summer. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy swimming pools. Enjoy the 4th of July, Memorial Day. Eat a bunch of barbecue. And we'll see y'all soon.
All right. Peace.